All right, hello and welcome to those of you who are just entering the webinar. We are going to get started in about 7 minutes, so feel free to get yourself situated, get comfortable, grab a glass of water or a tea or a wine even, and we will get started here in about 7 minutes. Thank you. Hello and welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us for this evening's wellness webinar. We will be starting the event in 5 minutes, so feel free to get comfortable, grab yourself a beverage and get seated, and we'll get this started in about 5 minutes. Thank you. Hello and welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us for tonight's wellness webinar. We will be getting started here in shortly about a few minutes, so feel free to get comfortable, grab yourself a drink, and we will be starting in approximately 2 minutes. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to our Nature's Fair Wellness webinar. We're so excited to have you here on such a beautiful night and appreciate that you are spending your time with us. We're going to be learning about the benefits of alkaline water. And tonight we have Yvonne Anderson. She's going to be teaching us about how mineralized and alkaline water can help balance your body's pH and then improve your overall vitality. So my name is Haley, and I'm the Corporate Events Coordinator with Nature's Fair. Welcome, Yvonne.
Thank you very much, Haley.
Yeah,
Great to be here.
We can see you. That's great. We'd like to thank you all for joining us and thank our partner, Santevia. Well, the presentation will be about 45 minutes long, and the participant microphones are muted, but the question and answer box is open, so feel free to ask any questions you have throughout the presentation. And either I'll do my best to answer them or flag them, and Yvonne and I will do some Q&A at the end of the talk. So before I hand it over to Yvonne, I just want to give you a little bit on her background. Her and her husband, David, created Santevia because they were tired of doctors prescribing pills to combat David's acid reflux. And when they learned that there were many others that were feeling the same way, they wanted to find a natural remedy. So they decided to do something about it, and she's going to tell you all about that journey tonight and the benefits that you can find. Thank you so much for being here tonight, Yvonne. We're really looking forward to your expertise. And with that, I'll hand it over to you.
Thanks, Haley. Greatly appreciated. Isn't it? It's a crazy time that we live in with COVID and everything else. So coming to you through Zoom instead of in person is unique for me, and I'm sure unique for you. But it's a great time to talk about the benefits of alkaline water. And Santevia, for some of you that don't know, is a BC company. We are Delta-based, and that means that we are very close to the Tawasin Ferry Terminal, for those of you who know where that is. I'm sure so many of you. And you can see that Santevia is called life-changing water. And that's because it has changed my family's life, and specifically my husband, David. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about his story. And so this is my lovely husband, David. And David, back in 2006-07, was diagnosed with chronic acid reflux. And the doctors said, David needs to be on medication for the rest of his life. And I said, no, my background was in natural health. And I knew that a proton inhibitor for a long period of time was a bad way to go. So I looked at David and I said, David, there's got to be a better way. And as a kinesiologist, I started doing the research, and I realized that David was acidic, and our body is naturally alkaline. And so what we needed to do was get David more alkaline. And so that's what we did. We worked on his diet, we worked on his exercise, but knowing that his body is primarily water, I was having a really hard time finding good natural alkaline water. And most of our tap water was either neutral or acidic. And that really didn't work for me. And also, I certainly didn't like single-use plastic water bottles. So both of those things led us to discover the benefits of alkaline water and realizing that we needed to bring this to you, to North America, to the people that really needed alkaline water. So that's how Santevia got started. We started with one system, and now we have a whole variety of products. But what I'm most proud about is that we're doing this here in Canada. So that's cool. Let me tell you, I've got a couple other stories to tell you. First of all, I want to show you a little bit about our company. We have 4 core values, and live long, live strong is one of our core values. And the living long and living strong, I thought about that for a long time. And living long is really not great if you're going to spend the last 10 years of your life in a nursing home. We need to live long and live strong, but that means living a balanced lifestyle, mental and physical and spiritual wellness. And actually having a good mental attitude. I want to tell you a little bit of a story about a CEO seminar I went to. And in there, of course, it was all these CEOs in the room, and all of them are looking at, what is going to make their company bigger and better. And I looked at that, and the facilitator said, tell me your top 3 priorities in your company. And I said my number 1 priority was health. He actually centered me out in the middle of all these CEOs, and he said, health. He said, what about profitability, your growth strategy, your marketing strategy? And I looked at him and I said, if you don't have your health, none of those matter. And I actually knew that there was a CEO in the room that was battling cancer. And they had spoken to me before, and they said, nothing mattered anymore except their battle with cancer. And if we're battling our health, then nothing else is a priority. So I truly believe in living long and living strong. Our health is our number 1 challenge. Our next core value is going further. And we are so proud of what we do. And when we first started, a lot of our products were made in China. And now, over the last 5 years, and with a 10-year plan in mind, we are bringing all of our Santevia products back to Canada. And we are manufacturing them here. We are going further. We are leaving this whole country better off than it started with. And you know what? The right way isn't easy. Bringing our manufacturing back to Canada isn't easy, but it's the right thing to do. And boy, during this COVID time, it was the right thing to do. And we know because our supply chain is right here in British Columbia. So it was so easy to make sure that you and all of your families could have the great water that you needed on time. Our next core value is strive for aha moments. And it is so important to be innovative. As we deal with our health, we need innovation all the time. And one of the things that was a real aha moment was when you told us that you didn't really understand the difference between high pH water and alkaline water. And I'm going to talk to you a lot more about that. But high pH water, you see that all over the place now. Oh, we're an 8.0, we're a 9.0, we're a this, we're that. But actually, being high pH doesn't necessarily help your body. Being alkaline is what helps your body. That was such an aha. And we got that from you. You told us that. And we knew that, but we hadn't explained that. And so I'm going to actually explain that a lot further later on in the seminar. Our next core value is we are family. And doing no harm and doing the right thing is so important to us, but also giving back to others. And when Santevia started, we actually started at exactly the same time Santevia gives back. We were at a conference in Thailand, and the issue of sex slavery was a huge topic of conversation, as you can well imagine, in Thailand. So we asked, how can we help? What can we do? And the organizers introduced us to an orphanage in northern Thailand where children who were very vulnerable to ending up in the sex trade were sent. But the biggest issue of these orphanages were stable funding. So when we started the company, we started right from the very first day saying, we're going to give back to philanthropy in our philanthropy fund. And we agreed to fund that first orphanage in Thailand for 10 years so that they knew they would have stable funding. But right now, we actually are funding 3 orphanages in Thailand, a school in the slums of Bangladesh, and water projects throughout the world. But I have to tell you, I just got a letter yesterday from the school in Bangladesh, and COVID is hitting these third world countries so hard. Their lockdown in the slums where they live in one small shack, and they sometimes have 4 to 6 people living in a small shack, and they can't go out, so they can't work. And when you can't work and you live in a slum, you don't eat. And they have people actually dying of starvation because of the ramifications of COVID. So we're actually even stepping up and giving more during this COVID time because it's the right thing to do. Healthy for all, shared by all. This is our purpose. And Santevia products are healthy for you and your family. And the benefits of drinking clean water through Santevia are shared with people all over the world. I don't know if you knew this, but 30% of the world's population lives in water poverty. Let me tell you a little bit about water poverty. So we at Santevia believe that access to clean, healthy drinking water is a right that's sadly not available to everyone in the world. But our local charity partner, Acts for Water, and Santevia are on a mission to change that. This is our promise, and Santevia's 10-year goal is to give 100,000 years of clean drinking water by 2030. We're focusing in right now on Uganda, where over 8.4 million people live without access to safe, clean drinking water. For mothers, this means the risk of parasites and dangerous waterborne illnesses threaten the lives of their children. And for young girls, it means walking kilometers every day with heavy cans to fetch water instead of going to school. And water is everything. It's education, it's good health, it's gender equality, food security. Clean drinking water is life. And 1 in 4 girls in water poverty do not complete primary school, often because of a lack of water access and sanitation facilities. And women are twice as likely to fetch water as men, which robs them of the chance to earn an income and increases the likelihood of sexual assault. And water poverty drags down the entire economy. But every one single dollar invested in clean water can yield up to $12 in economic returns in that community. We're out to solve water poverty. So that's 100,000 years of clean drinking water given by December 31st, 2030. We're going to achieve that, but we're going to do it with you, because every time you buy a Santevia water product, you actually help with water poverty. Quality consumer water filters optimized for health. That's our mission. You are water. Your body is 70% water. Your muscles, 80% water, and your brain is 90% water. Our health relies on water, clean, mineralized, and naturally alkaline water. Your body needs it. I want to talk to you a little bit about pH. pH stands for potential of hydrogen. And in the simplest of terms, pH is an absolute number to measure how acidic or basic a solution is. So, taking a look at the pH scale here, we can see 0 is highly acidic. And on the other end of the spectrum, 14 is highly basic. Right in the middle of the pH scale is 7, which is neutral, which is neither acidic nor basic. Okay, so I know I'm pulling you back to grade 10 science, but we're going to talk a little bit about science. Okay, so let's take a look at this scale. Many foods in the standard American diet, yes, coffee, pop, fast food, processed foods, wine. Oh my gosh, the list goes on and on. You can see it there. The standard American diet is very acidic. On the other hand, A healthy alkaline diet consists of leafy greens, legumes, quinoa, and alkaline water, which are all alkaline. But some alkaline foods also have a basic pH, but some do not. So can you guess? I bet you can. Lemons, limes, grapefruit. These citrus fruits are acidic on the pH scale, but they provide alkalinity to your body. So let's talk a little bit about this further. Oh, I do want to point out, optimal body pH is 7.36. This is your blood pH, and we are going to talk a little bit more about this further. So now let's take a look at your body. So in your body, the pH varies, and each part of your digestive tract operates with a specific pH range. So pH, the inner bodies, so if you take a look, you can take a look, and I know you're going to comb down here and look at your stomach. It's probably one of the most commonly asked questions I get. Why would I drink alkaline water when my stomach is only like a 4 pH? Well, each part, if you take a look of our digestive tract, is a different pH, and that's because it's necessary for optimal function. And take a look at the duodenum, which is right below your stomach, and look at how high the pH is there. So if your stomach was basic, it wouldn't digest your food properly. But as it goes through, and if you look, comes out the other end, you're back to almost neutral. So pH is different than alkalinity. So now let's talk a little bit about alkalinity. So alkalinity, this is another scientific term. And alkalinity is defined as the resistance to change in pH in a solution. So it's your body's alkalinity, not a specific pH, that is so critical to your health. Since a shift in the outside of each part of your body's optimal pH range is a serious health risk. So we know our normal body, I hope you can remember, is 7.36. If you drop down to 6.36, we know you have a significant health issue. So alkalinity is measured differently than pH. In water, it's measured by the concentration of HCO3, which is bicarbonate, which is an alkalizing ion, which is present in water. Your body has an alkalizing buffer system that works very hard to resist shifts in pH. Now think about this. So you have a temperature. Well, your temperature is 98.6. Oh, sorry, I'm old-fashioned, 37. And so what's happening is your temperature, if you go up only 1 or 2 degrees, it's really, really significant. So your body is very tightly measured. So there's no way you could go up from 98 to 108. We all know at 108, you'd be dead. Well, it's the same thing for alkalinity. 7.36, if you go down to 6.36, you are very sick. If you go down to 5.36, you are dead. So your body has these alkalizing buffering systems that really resist shifts in pH. And the buffering system is used by your lungs and your digestive system, and it also relies on bicarbonate to neutralize acid. Okay, so if we're getting into, panic station here, and you're going, oh my gosh, I didn't take biology, physiology in high school, let's explain this in terms of an analogy. Consider a bank account. Some people start off with more in their banks, thanks to family wealth. This is true of your health too. Some of you have won the genetic lottery, and some of you haven't. However, regardless of where you start, everybody has the capacity to influence their bank account, just like health. So you have a lot that you can do to influence that bank account. And in your bank account, sometimes you make deposits and sometimes you make withdrawals. And when your withdrawals exceed your deposits, you know what it's like, you go into debt. So most of us have experienced some sort of debt at one point or another, whether it's on that credit card or whatever. And we can all recognize that while a small amount of debt is easy to fix, hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt are a bigger problem. And once you get into a cycle of debt, it's easy to get further and further in debt, compounding the problem until a small problem becomes a big problem. So let's talk about the health bank account. Your health is just the same. In our case of an alkalizing buffering system, when you need to neutralize acid, you need to withdraw from the alkaline stores that you have in your body. Just like a bank account, there's also only so many withdrawals that you can make before it runs out of bicarbonate. So you need to have a good store in your body. When you run out of the alkalizing ions, you go into health debt. And what does health debt look like? It looks like disease. So just like your finances, once you get into a cycle of health debt, it's really easy for it to become a bigger and bigger problem and a very serious illness. And we all know what that's like. So it's easy when you only have gained 5 pounds and you have to lose it, or 10 pounds. But when it's 50 pounds or 100 pounds, it takes a lot more effort. It doesn't mean you can't do it. You can, but it takes more effort. So we want to catch things early. And for anybody that goes into a health cycle of debt, there's no bankruptcy like there is in finances. You can't wipe out health debt. And once you're diagnosed with a very serious illness, it's really hard to get well again. So for this reason, it's important to practice prevention and take care of your body up front by reducing your acidic load and making regular deposits of alkalizing minerals to your health bank account. And remember some of those things we want to do. We want to eat healthy. We want to drink healthy. And we want to exercise. I always call them the big three. Eat alkaline, drink alkaline, and exercise to get rid of that lactic acid. We want it out. All right. Now, what factors cause acidity? So, how we reduce that acidic load and exactly how are we exposed to acidity? We all say, I eat really well. Well, food is the number one, especially that standard American diet. It's just so low in alkalinity that it really is tough. So you need alkalizing minerals to make deposits to your bank account for that day that you really feel like you need to go out for a hamburger and a fries and a glass of wine. Well, that's okay if you've made deposits into that health bank account. But we need to make those deposits. If we eat like that all the time, we're in trouble. So again, pop, coffee, fast foods, processed foods, wine, and even that carbonated water. Everyone thinks, oh, well, I'm drinking carbonated water these days. I'm drinking water. Well, actually, that water is very acidic, almost as acidic as pop, as soda. So remember, we breathe in oxygen. We breathe out carbon dioxide. So when you infuse carbon dioxide into your drink, which every carbonated drink has, you're actually doing something that's very unnatural because your body actually breathes out carbon dioxide. It's not something you want to put into your body. So remember that the next time you go to grab one of those fizzy waters, that's just as bad for you as a Coke. And so don't fool yourself. Pollution and stress also cause acidity in the body. And these are things that are much harder for us to manage, but stress is a big one. People can eat really, really well, and yet if they are stressed out like crazy, their body's actually going to produce acidity. And so we need to look at that. That's why we need to look at breathing deeply. We need to look at practices like meditation and yoga. We need to really balance our lives because we really have to work on the stress. Pollution, a little bit tougher because we live where we live, but get out in the forest, get out in the fresh air and really breathe deeply. This will help both with the pollution and the stress. And these factors like pollution and stress make our buffering system work very hard. And remember, our buffering system's all about balance. And this causes our health bank account to really have to work hard. Remember, it's all about balance. High acidity means bigger withdrawals from the health bank account to neutralize all that acidity. And low alkalinity deposits due to a demineralized diet mean fewer deposits and a depleted health savings account. And this puts us at a big risk of health debt and disease. So let's talk about Santevia water. Santevia water it's different. It takes out the bad. And that is chlorine, contaminants, pharmaceuticals, and more. But it has that second piece. It puts back in the good. Calcium, magnesium, and trace minerals. And guess what? These are all alkalizing minerals. Calcium, magnesium, and those trace minerals. And that's what we need to do. So every time you take a glass of clean, mineralized, and alkaline water, you're adding to the health bank account. It's so important that we add to the health bank account. And just to remind you, our body is 70% water, our muscles are 80% water, and our brain is 90% water. So we need water that does two things. It does take out the bad stuff because we don't want that stuff in our water. But it also puts the good stuff, those alkalizing, buffering minerals, back in. And we need to do that every day. Why do we know this? Well, Santevia water mimics a fresh mountain stream. So when we took a look at what is a fresh mountain stream, what composes a fresh mountain stream, and to no surprise to, I think, any of you, a fresh mountain stream is naturally alkaline. It has alkalizing minerals in a fresh mountain stream. The water that your grandparents drank was alkaline. It either came from a well or a stream, and those were alkalizing minerals, and that's what kept their bodies in balance. Santevia has a gravity water system. This actually was our very first product. And with the Santevia gravity water system, it is it's where true alkaline water came in. So as we were looking, remember my husband David had chronic acid reflux. And with his chronic acid reflux, we really were struggling to keep this under control, even with the good diet and the exercise. It wasn't until we added the daily drinking of alkaline and naturally mineralized and alkaline water that his acid reflux came under control. And I don't think I finished that story, but once David started drinking from the gravity water system on a regular basis, within 90 days, he had got off of all medication and his chronic acid reflux went away, and he's never actually had it ever again. So it's really having that regular balance of alkalizing minerals is so important. Santevia's water is truly alkaline water. It's not simply high pH water. The water is high in alkaline minerals like calcium and magnesium, and that's what makes those very important deposits to your health bank account. And you need to make sure you have plenty of resources in your health bank account to maintain your health. And these minerals increase the pH of the water. So remember, that's how we measure it. So it does increase the pH when you're measuring it by up to 2 units on the pH scale, making the water slightly basic, which that is what reduces your acidic load and gives you opportunities to have withdrawals from your health bank account. The Santevia gravity water system has 8 layers of filtration and remineralization. It starts with a ceramic pre-filter at the top. It goes through 5 layers in the central filter, and then it goes through, it sits, you can see actually from the picture, it sits on Myfan stone, which is a mineral bath, which keeps the water stable and alkaline. This system was designed to mimic a fresh mountain stream, which is naturally alkaline. One of the things about a gravity water system is its long contact filtration. So what that means is it actually takes a long time to get from the top to the bottom. And this is like a meandering stream. What happens is, while it drips slowly through the filtration, it naturally gains all of those minerals. Slow is good, and it's really important. This would not work if it was fast. It actually needs to be slow. And when you start, it seems like, oh my gosh, it's going to take forever to get me clean, mineralized and naturally alkaline water. But once you get moving in this system, you're always filling the top, and you have that bottom reservoir with 10 liters of clean, mineralized and naturally alkaline water. This is going to serve your health bank account every day and give you those minerals that you need to be really effective. Now, next, our lovely made in Canada Mina water pitcher. Santevia mineralized and alkaline water can help you maintain optimal health through alkalinity, a stable body pH at the correct pH in the correct place. Remember all those different pHs? You want the right one in the right place at the right time. The important part is not that our body operates at a single pH everywhere, because we know our stomach is more acidic and our duodenum is more alkaline. And if we recall our health bank account, truly alkaline water like Santevia supports our health bank account on both ends of the scale, at the top and at the bottom. So first, by reducing withdrawals from the health bank account, and remember the acidic load in our body, pollution and diet, both really big things, but also, yes, you remember, stress. So Santevia water filters the contaminants, takes out the bad stuff, and naturally raises the pH through mineralization, increasing that diet pH. By removing contaminants and increasing the pH, the Santevia water filters effectively reduce the acidic load in your body. And second, we increase the deposit. So remember, we want to take out the bad, but we want to put back in the good. And we increase those deposits into your health bank account. We can't be perfect all the time with our health. Believe me, I love my glass of wine. And I know it's acidic, but I also know that every day I'm actually putting things back into my bank account so I can balance this out. And so the key is to make sure you've got enough in your bank account so that you can withdraw when you need to. Because if we go too far into debt in our health bank account, we're going to get sick. And in these COVID times, and none of us know who's got COVID, none of us know who's the person, whether it's the person beside us in a store, or whether it's the person on a bus or train or plane that's close to us that has COVID. We don't know. So the most important thing we can do is have a strong health bank account, because when we have a very strong immune system, we can withstand a lot of things. And that's the most important thing for us, to have a strong immune system. And that means having a very strong health bank account. We need all of those alkaline minerals to keep us, so that if something like a COVID virus comes to attack us, we've got the things that will keep our pH in balance. When our pH is 7.36, we can't get sick, because disease does not grow in an alkaline body. And the key is to make sure you've always got those minerals in play and have health dollars in your bank account. Your body can't make its own minerals. You must consume them as part of your diet. And by drinking Santevia water, that's not only clean and free from contaminants, but also full of alkalizing minerals. You're making sure your body has the resources it needs, the health dollars it needs. So, Santevia Mina water pitcher, made in Canada. And the other very cool thing about this pitcher is every time someone purchases this pitcher, we give 100 days of clean drinking water to someone in water poverty. And we just feel so blessed that we can do that. The Power Water Stick. Well, when you're on the go, and so many of us are back out and about, and that is very cool. I know that we've been at home for such a long time, and it's just nice to get out and about, especially when the sun is shining and life is good. So with a Santevia mineralized alkaline water stick, you can maintain optimal health again and a stable body. The Power Stick is created to be put in your water bottle. You give it a shake, and that water stick gives you clean, mineralized, and naturally alkaline water. This is a fabulous to-go product, and having that calcium and magnesium is adding every time you drink water to your health bank account. So it's really, really important that we not only take out the bad, but we add back in the good. And a Power Water Stick in your water bottle can help that happen all the time. Great for kids. They're going out for soccer camps. Isn't it great that they're all getting out again? And soccer camps, or whatever camp you're sending your kid to, pop a Power Water Stick in their water bottle, and you know that they will actually be gaining those minerals and that alkalinity that they need to stay healthy. Our next product that I want to talk to you about is a Santevia recovery stick. And the recovery stick is also a convenient on-the-go water product. It improves the taste and reduces chlorine, but it has antioxidants in it that hydrogen gives us those extra antioxidants, and it helps raise the pH. So a water stick, whether you choose the Power Water Stick or the Recovery Water Stick, they're both fabulous products for on the go. I use the Recovery Stick all the time after I work out. And what it does, remember, when we work out, we create lactic acid in our body. And it's so important for us to get that lactic acid out of our body. And the Recovery Stick with the hydrogen in it can actually boost us up and quickly remove the lactic acid out of our body. Remember, what are we doing? We are using those buffering minerals from our health bank account, and we're replenishing our health bank account on the go. So that's fantastic. The bath filter. Well, interesting. I love the bath filter. I know it's got that cute little whale on it, and my kids aren't little anymore. I have 3 kids, and they are all young adults, and they laugh, and I laugh at them, because we all use the Santevia bath filter. And what the bath filter does is it reduces contaminants out of the water, and it helps make our water more alkaline. It reduces chlorine up to 99% and puts those magnesium and zinc, these rich, nourishing minerals for your skin. Think about this. Your body, your skin, is the largest organ in your body. And so through our skin, we can actually absorb an awful lot of chlorine. And that's not a cool thing. We don't want to absorb chlorine. Chlorine is a wonderful thing that keeps our water safe, but it's not something actually we want to drink or we want to absorb. And what is chlorine? Well, if you use the longer word, chlorine bleach. And if you have a bottle of bleach in your cupboard somewhere, and I guess during these COVID times, most people would have a bottle of bleach. Can you imagine every day drinking one little dropper full? Well, if you are not filtering your water, that's precisely what you're doing. Bleach is great to keep us safe, get rid of germs, but we don't want to drink it. It's not something that we want in our body, but we also don't want to absorb it. I also have a little bit of eczema, and what I find is when I use the bath filter all the time, this really, really helps. And it helps eliminate eczema, and it's cute. Yeah, I know. A few people have said, oh, do you really need the whale on it? But hey, you're having a bath, you're all by yourself, and the whale is just cute. It's also made in Canada and one of those great products that we love and believe in. So, alkalinity for health. Remember, optimal pH in the right place. It's important that our body operates not at a single pH everywhere, but rather that we have the right pH in the right place always. Alkalinity and pH are different. Alkalinity is the resistance to pH. And while pH is an absolute value, or it's a measure, it's to measure how acidic or basic a solution is. True alkaline water, like Santevia, derives its alkalinity from its mineralization. It's your body's alkalinity. It's your body's ability to maintain the right pH in the right place always. That's what's so critical to your health. And that's what a fresh mountain stream does. A fresh mountain stream is naturally alkaline. Santevia water is naturally alkaline. And that's what we have created right here in Canada. I believe that water can change people's lives. I truly believe this. I have seen this in my husband. I read testimonials from you all the time. I read another testimonial recently that talked about a gentleman wrote in and he said, I have gout. I have suffered from gout for such a long time. And gout is very painful. My own husband has suffered from gout, and gout is a disease of acidity. And this gentleman said a friend of his recommended that he try Santevia water. And he didn't believe this. He said, I don't believe this. But he said, gout is so painful, I'm willing to try anything. So he bought a Santevia Mina pitcher, and he started drinking the water. About 2 to 3 weeks after starting to drink the water, his gout disappeared. And he thought, oh, well, that's just a coincidence. I've probably eaten the right food. And we know foods we know food is a huge trigger for both all acidity, including gout. And so what he did was he went off the Santevia water and his gout came back. And so he went, oh, it's probably just a coincidence. He started drinking the Santevia water. His gout went away. He tried it again, went off the Santevia water. His gout came back. So he wrote into us and he wrote a big, long testimonial and said, I am a convert. And it got me thinking. And it was another one of those aha moments. My husband does not have gout when we are at home. He only gets gout when we travel. And when we travel, he doesn't drink as much water. And even though I take those sticks with me, and remember, I take both a power stick and a recovery stick with me, he is a little loose with his, how can I say it, his diet and his drinking of water, because there's so many other fun things to drink when you're on vacation. And what I realized is my husband only gets gout when he's on vacation. And as soon as we get home, his gout disappears again. So now I'm going to be adamant that, in fact, the last vacation we went on, we took the Santevia Mina pitcher with us, and he didn't get gout. So I'm really convinced that regularly using this for those people who have health deficits, and I know that my husband teeters on the edge because he loves those rich foods. And there are some of us that have things like type 2 diabetes, kidney disease, heart disease, even cancer. And what we need to do is we need to get serious about our health bank account, and we need to start making more deposits than withdrawals, because we can change this, and water can change people's lives. You are, I just want to say, you're very lucky because you're going to get a $10 off Mina pitcher for an in-store coupon, and it's going to be emailed to you. And every one of you that go in and pick up your Mina pitcher, remember, you'll be giving 100 days of clean drinking water to people in water poverty. And that is so cool to think that not only are you buying something that is healthy for you, but it's healthy for all. And you are being part of the solution. And 30% of the people in this world who are in water poverty will thank you, because you will make a difference. And I actually really want to thank you. And I want to thank you and say, you're going to get your coupon. You're going to help us help others when you help yourself. Life-changing water. That is Santevia. And I really, really can't say enough that I believe that water can change your life, and especially mineralized and naturally alkaline water. So I want to thank you. And I really would like to hear your questions. If you've got questions for me, I'm here, happy to answer them. And if not, enjoy the rest of your evening, because it's a glorious one here on the West Coast. And I hope wherever you are, it's also an amazing evening.
Wonderful, Yvonne. Thank you so much. I've already done a training session with you guys, but I think every time I learn something new. There have been some really great questions that I've flagged that I'd love to ask. The first one is, you mentioned in the Mina product that it is the filter is recyclable. Can you talk about that process a little bit?
This has got to be one of my most favorite things. And so the Mina filter, the top of the Mina filter twists off. And ladies, if you're having a bit of a trouble twisting it, because it does take some pretty good strength to twist the top off, there's a trick, and that is you boil some water and put the whole Mina filter in boiling water, which loosens, makes the plastic soft, and I can open it, no problem. And then the top part is the part that you actually have all the contaminants in, and you're going to dispose of that. The bottom part are these great minerals. And what I do is I spread them all over my garden or in my houseplants. And I have these strawberries that are absolutely amazing. And it's because they're the closest thing to my back door, and they get fed minerals more often than anything else. Then the plastic parts of your filter can go in your recycle bin. So
awesome.
It's one of the very first filters. It's the only filter made in Canada that is recyclable, and we're really proud of that.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And there was a question about the difference between like a conventional Brita and the Santevia systems, and I did take a stab at answering it from what I had learned, but basically with the Santevia system, it's about adding the good. And so you're getting more of those mineralities with your system versus the conventional.
Right. So that's the biggest thing is, so there's a number of filters on the market that take out the bad. And that's great. I'm pleased that they're eliminating single-use plastic water bottles and taking out the bad, but that doesn't help your health bank account. That's not what makes you healthy. It reduces contaminants, but you need the things that make you healthy, which is calcium, magnesium, and trace minerals, which is that step 2, putting the good back in. And for so many of us, that's the most important thing. But that's also what is unique about a fresh mountain stream. And so it's amazing that our parents, our grandparents really, I mean, only 100 years ago, all drank mineralized and naturally alkaline water. And yet our processed water, we talk about processed food a lot, but if you turn on a tap and you drink water from the tap, that's processed water, no different than processed meat or cheese or whatever else is processed in this world. It's processed water. And that processed water is safe. It's just like, you know, processed food is safe. It's just not nutritious for your body. So you need 2 parts. Take out the bad and add back in the good.
Great. And if someone was curious to find out their pH level personally, is there a way to do that?
Actually, yes, there is. So there are a number of methods, and I'm going to go through. So the least effective is when you go in and you buy these little test strips that you put on your tongue. So if you could go back to the slides, and I'm not sure if you'll be providing them, but the so when you go back to the slides, the what you'll find is the pH of your mouth is different than the pH of your urine. But so go into any pharmacy and they will give you pH test strips that are for urine. And I know that sounds a bit yucky, but that is a way better way. It's either the one before this or the one after this. Slide before this, pH varies, And I don't know if you can see I can't see on my screen, but can you see all the
numbers?
You can see all the numbers on your screen. Okay, so when you take a look at this, look at all the different, see, saliva is 6.5 to 7.5. If you buy the correct pH strips, that'll tell you, but there's something called an alkaline tide. So if you just drank something acidic or you just ate something really alkaline, it will be skewed in your saliva. So that's why that's not a good test. So go and request the urine, and then you do a first urine test, and you do that first thing in the morning. And those strips are they're easily obtained, and pretty much any pharmacy would have them. And so you go in and do first stream urine about, do it for about 5 days in a row, take the average, and then try and make a change in your life, like drinking Santevia water. Or
see what happens.
And then maybe 2 or 3 weeks later, test again.
Yeah. Okay, great. There's been a couple questions about consuming kombucha or apple cider vinegar, other things that might present acidic, but then when consumed are alkaline. Is there any conflict with that? Do you have any thoughts to share on how it can help or hinder?
Well, I think in moderation, those are great things. I know that I indulge in kombucha, and I think it's really good for your microbiome. So there are things that you're looking at. I also use, not on a regular basis, but when I need better balance, I would also look at something like apple cider vinegar. So these are also things like water and lemon. So I will boost my Santevia water with some lemon, especially first thing in the morning when I'm trying to actually take any contaminants out of my body. And so our biggest thing with health is balance. And so what we're trying to do is gain a healthy balance by having the minerals, the extra buffering minerals in our body, those alkaline minerals, but also making sure that we use other things. I mean, health is a interesting, complex issue. It's kind of like gardening. You can do basic gardening, but then you can get to be a master gardener. Totally. And you can do really good basic things for your health. And if you're only going to do one thing for your health, drink more water and drink mineralized and alkaline water. I can tell you there is nothing easier for your health. It makes your skin better. It balances your body. It helps with weight control, all of the things. So drink more water, drink mineralized and alkaline water. But that doesn't mean it's the only thing to do. There's so many things you can do.
Yeah. There had been a few questions about like, how much do I need to drink? Or is there, can you drink too much with the minerals that are put back into the water?
So the minerals won't affect you. You can't drink too much from that perspective. But of course, we all know you need about 8 to 10 glasses of water, more when it's really hot out or when you're exercising. And the way to tell is if your urine becomes clear, like absolutely clear, then you probably drank enough. And so what we're looking at, most urine would have a slight yellow tinge. And so if you're getting to the point where you're absolutely clear, what we see is there are very few people who drink too much water. The only people I've ever seen are marathon runners who drink too much water. There are an awful lot of people that don't drink enough water. So I think you're probably going to find that most people are on the not enough versus the too much, unless of course you're a marathon runner.
Yeah, absolutely. Some questions about the mineral stones and wondering where they came from, the ones that sit in the bottom of the gravity system.
Excellent question. So those are called Maifan mineral stones, and they've been used as far back as the Ming Dynasty, a dynasty in cooking pots. Wow. And so what they used to do was think of cooking pots and cisterns. So these are pots. So when people came and carried the water from a stream or something, they would put it in these big pots, and they needed mineral stones to keep the water, because what we know is, and even if somebody bought alkaline water and they put it just in a jug, what would happen is within 24 hours, that water would cease to be mineralized and alkaline. It goes back to a really neutral water because those minerals just absorb out of the water. So it's so important that we actually are in a situation, which is why those mineral stones are at the bottom of the gravity water system. And they're called Maifan mineral stones, and they're mined deep in the ocean. And they do it in a very, they have really good practices, and we watch this. And they're used in the water systems just like they were like thousands, like the Ming Dynasty was 2,000 years ago. And they have evidence that these very similar stones, if you look at them and you hold them, they're very porous. And the water almost flows in and through them, almost like, not really coral, but a kind of coral.
Yeah. Okay, wonderful. And now I don't know what ORP stands for, but does the gravity system have an ORP rating?
So ORP, yeah, oxygen reduction potential. So the gravity system does have an ORP, and so you have a higher pH and a lower ORP, and so yes, it's actually quite low. And if they actually go onto our website, you can see the actual ORP measurements.
Great. How long does the filter in the MENA pitcher usually last?
So the MENA pitcher lasts for 60 days, so it's 2 months, and 300 liters. So it's double the amount of liters that the average filter is. Yeah. And so that's very cool. And so that means a family of 4 can easily drink that for the 2 months.
Perfect.
And it can be recycled.
Yes, I love that part. Now, there was, I think, a question from someone who said, what if I don't live in the same town as Nature's Fair? There are other places and retailers that do sell the Santevia products, so you will be able to find them at a store near you.
Yes, and we do have a store finder on our website.
Perfect. All right. I think that covers most of the questions that I flagged from earlier. Thank you for being such a fantastic and engaging group. Lots of great conversation throughout the event. As Yvonne mentioned, you will be emailed a coupon for their products tomorrow with a recording of the presentation. So that'll come all together. And we hope to see you at our next online event.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here, Yvonne. It was a wonderful evening. Lots of education. Okay, with that, we'll say good night. Bye-bye, everyone.
Good night.